While I was growing up, my grandparents, they lived in the mountains and they always had a Subaru. And that's pretty much the case if you go to any mountain town or anywhere that is really somewhat rugged and gets a lot of snow, because these things are truly capable. Today we have the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. It's refreshed and it's got practicality in mind. We're gonna take a full detailed look at the exterior, the interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive. Let's get started. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the exterior details of this refreshed Subaru Crosstrek. So first of all, let's go through the trims. We've got the premium at the bottom, sport, limited, and wilderness at the top end, and we have the limited right here. So the body gets a little bit of a facelift here for 2024, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are. You've got the same Subaru badge up front, same kind of design and overall front end, look to what we've seen, but we've got LED headlights standard, LED fog lights, even an LED blinker here, and you get adaptive LED headlights standard on every single trim. The LED fogs are on everything except the base. Now as we take a look at the rest of the body, we've got the black roof rack up above, you've got 18-inch wheels here. You'll get anywhere from 17 to 18-inch wheels total, and you've got a lot of body cladding here. Let me know what you think of that. Kind of adds to the little rugged appeal that Subaru is going for. One note about the roof rack is that you can get raised roof rails on everything except the base. So you've got good clearance right here. They're definitely built to carry things and go with the adventurous vibe of the Subaru. And statically, you can actually put up to 700 pounds on top of there. Dimensionally, this is about 176 inches long, so it is fairly small, definitely a compact vehicle, but you get 8.7 inches of ground clearance on most of them, but 9.3 inches on the wilderness. That is definitely better than what you're gonna see in this class from anything else. Another thing from Subaru is that they actually gave us a stiffer chassis this year, so stiffness with the frame can also allow you to soften up the suspension. So you should have a softer ride here, just an incandescent turn signal, but you've got this claw type design like we've seen on the Crosstrek and other Subarus. And of course, you've got the all-wheel drive badge because that is standard. All right, let's take a look at the cargo area. So no power lift gate on this one, it's just manual, which is totally fine with me. You've got a little button right up under there. And then under here, we're gonna get about 20 cubic feet total. So this is good space considering the overall size and dimensions of the vehicle. So that's a pretty large backpack right there, just something to bear in mind. You've got this tonneau cover that you can put right there, or your cargo cover right there, which is always good. This is a nice mat that you can get as well. It's got the Crosstrek branding on here. It's kind of rubberized. Got those big circular areas right there, and this is actually a good tie down or hook, so it feels very sturdy. Same with that one up there, it feels super sturdy. So you could use this as like a grocery bag hook. You could tie stuff down because it's got a hole right there and you can get your finger in there, so you can loop things around that. You've got more tie downs over there, so Subaru kept that in mind with the adventurous people that are probably going to be buying this. You've also got a cargo light over there and the same hook setup on this side. Underneath of this cargo floor, the good news is every single trim is going to give you a spare tire. To fold the second row down, you just pull this little lever and whoop, the headrest doesn't automatically fold, but where I sit, this can fold. The only thing is I'm a little bit surprised that we don't have a 40-20-40 split. It is just a 40-60 split. Subaru, I would like to see a split in the middle there for people with skis or something like that. But once we have this all down, you've got well over 50 cubic feet total. It's actually pretty flat with that second row of seats, and the ceiling is kind of tall too. It's a little bit wagon-esque, but good overall space. Now, Subaru will give you the smart key system on everything except the base model. This key is not too big, not too bulky, so it fits in your pocket just fine. No remote start on the key fob though. So with this smart key system, you've got sensors in the back to unlock it, or these little lines you can press to lock it. The mirror will also flash whether you lock or unlock. Then, as we take a look inside, let's look at these seats. This is actually where there is an improvement from Subaru. Subaru claims to have added padding to the bottom and the seat back this year, which I can't compare, but they are comfortable seats. These are leather seats in our limited model right here. They actually feel pretty nice. You've got this stitching running down. You've got perforations in the middle with the orange contrast here. Good bolstering overall. It's not too big, but it's not just totally flat and useless either. Then you've got your typical height and tilt, recline, and a two-way lumbar support on this one. But you will have cloth 6-way manual seats on the bottom trims, and as far as I know, those will not have adjustable lumbar support, and you'll get synthetic seats on the Wilderness. The steering wheel here is manual tilt and telescoping. It's got a plenty good range of motion too. You will notice you've got heated seat buttons right there. Those are standard on the top 3 trims. The heated seats will be optional on the premium model. And there's no ventilated seat option in here, not something you always expect in this class, but also we don't have a heated steering wheel even at this price point. I'd kind of expect that from Subaru, considering a lot of cold winter climate people are going to be driving this, but it's what it is. However, you will get windshield wiper de-icer. Now, let me tell you, if you live in a cold climate, that is a game changer. You don't want them frozen wipers and your windshield being crusted with ice. And climbing into the back seat here, first of all, over on the door, this is a hard touch, kind of a durable feeling plastic, padded armrest, a really cheap kind of feeling pad right there, but you got a good grab handle and you've got a bottle holder. And overall back seat space is good, but let's hop in. Now, sitting behind myself, this is where my seat would be at 5'9". I've got plenty of knee space and foot space for a smaller vehicle like this. No complaints with that. In the middle, there is a hump, so something to keep in mind for middle passengers. You've got 2 USB charging ports right there, a USB-C and USB-A, both fairly fast chargers, and the USB-C is on everything except the base. Passenger side gets a map pocket over there. And in the middle, we got this center folding armrest. It is padded. You've got a pretty good sized cup holder in here with little rubber pieces to help hold drinks in place. You don't get this armrest on the base model though. Now, these seats are fairly comfortable as well. I'm 5'9" and I've got plenty of room above my head, so that's good. 6-footers could probably fit back here. Good knee space, comfortable seats overall. No heated seats back here, and these don't recline either. Now, let's go ahead and start it up. Push button start right there. We've got this large display. You've got a little display in there, and let me tell you about everything here. So over on the door, Subaru gives you kind of a nice trim material right here. It's got this carbon fiber look to it. So it's not just glossy black, which is good. This is all soft right here. This is a soft material on the above the armrest. The armrest has some padding to it as well with that orange stitching, and you've got a large grab handle right there. Down in the door, you've got a decent sized bottle holder here. It's even big enough to hold a giant mug like that. Interior brightness controls are just on the inside, just like the rest of that trim. And the steering wheel here is leather wrapped. We've got some paddle shifters here as well. And as far as the steering wheel controls go, this is a pretty easy to use layout. You can control your audio, you can control your information display, your phone, the volume, all of that stuff. Radar cruise control, which is standard on here with your eyesight system, lane keeping system as well. And we'll go through the drive modes right there. So right in front of us, you get a pretty standard layout for the cluster. You've got your analog on the sides, and you've got everything in the middle as well. So we can scroll through different pieces of information in the middle there, just right up on the top. Nothing too crazy. It's honestly kind of surprising that that's about the extent of this display on this limited model. Then coming over here, we get Subaru's vertical display. What do you think of this? This is pretty nice. This is a large display. There's a lot that you can do on here. You get a 7-inch screen on the base model with no wireless CarPlay, but this one, you get wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay. It's 11.6 inches vertical on everything except the base model. You also get more speakers. So this one will come standard with 6 speakers, whereas the base gets 4 speakers. But we have the Harman Kardon audio system as an option in here. You even got a little Harman Kardon badging on the speaker grills. It's a 10-speaker system, which is an option. The screen does take a little bit to get used to. Everything is different here. You've got volume knob, tuning knob. We've got our climate controls built in here as well. Then you've got your auto stop start down there too, so it is touchscreen down here. I don't love how this is touchscreen, but it's big enough to where you don't have to focus on it too much, and everything integrates pretty well in here. If you hit the home button, you go back to Subaru's own menu system instead of the CarPlay or Android Auto system, and it's pretty simple and self-explanatory. You will notice that you have temperature controls on both sides. You do have dual zone climate control. That is a standard feature. Just down from there, check this out. We've got an auxiliary port USB-C and USB-A. The USB-C is not on the base model, but then we have a wireless charger down there too, which is standard on the top 3 trims. One thing I've noticed is that it is a little bit finicky getting this in the right spot to wirelessly charge, but maybe that's just me. Shifter also, you know, pretty simple in the middle here. You can go into reverse, and let's take a look at this backup camera. If we turn the steering wheel, you've got dynamic guidance lines on there as well. You can go down to drive, move it over to manual. You don't need to go into the manual mode. You can just use your paddle shifters without going into that. Then we've got our heated seat buttons right here. Totally forgot mine was on, getting kind of warm. So you've got a high or a low setting for you and your passenger. The cup holders are good size, and I kind of like how they're diagonal, and if you have a mug with a handle, it might fit in there. You can take this out as well, so you've got a deeper cup holder if you want. In addition to that, you got a 12-volt power outlet right here, so this whole center console area is pretty easy to live with. And just for reference, there is my big mug, fits in there just fine. And we've got a large center padded armrest with the stitching right here. This actually has some nice padding to it. In front of that, you even get a little storage area. It's a good spot for sunglasses or your key or something like that. In the middle, there's no charging ports or anything in there, but it is somewhat deep. Our glove box is not a locking glove box though. We can open it up right there. It's got decent size and it's soft opening, however. Now, even on this limited trim, I honestly like this, but this is a manual flipping mirror. This is not an automatic dimming mirror. That is available as an option though. Then up overhead, this moonroof is actually optional. This is not a standard feature, so something that you can get optional on every trim except the base model. Interior lighting, right there. You can open up your moonroof with that. There's no dedicated sunglass holder in here though, something to keep in mind. These visors, when they pop out to the side, you just have this sliding piece. I wish the whole visor could move, but it's a decent size little sunblock. Now, how about visibility? Let's take a quick look out here. You definitely have that hatchback type of design, but you got a little window to peek through there, and we get blind spot monitoring on here, so you're going to be able to tell if somebody is next to you. And we've got Subaru's eyesight thing, which I want to make a note about this, their eyesight safety system. You've got this entire area with all this plastic. It is kind of big, and right away I was like, wow, that takes up a lot of space right there, but you get used to it. All right, y'all, we are now starting out our test drive, but let's talk about the powertrain first. You've got 2 options, a 2-liter 4-cylinder with some underwhelming numbers, or a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that we have in this one. This 2.5-liter 4-cylinder is on the top 3 trims, so not the base or the premium, and you get 182 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque, and a CVT transmission for all of them. So you used to be able to get a manual. There's no manual option available anymore. One of the big pros though is that all of them have all-wheel drive. That's what you get with Subaru, and you get a good all-wheel drive system as well. Miles per gallon difference between the 2 engines isn't much different though. In the lower engine, 2-liter, you get up to 34 MPGs on the highway, and this one you get up to 33 MPGs on the highway. And remember, those are with all-wheel drive. Now, if you're considering the Wilderness model, that does drop your MPG. However, you can tow 3,500 pounds with the Wilderness. That's impressive for a vehicle of this size, and the power numbers too. But test drive wise, I talked a little bit about Subaru's eyesight technology. That is standard on all trims: radar cruise, lane centering, emergency braking, things like that. And I gotta say, my first impression here is that the Subaru is just an easy to drive, comfortable drive type of vehicle. You get in, nothing's complicated, it's easy to drive, it just feels smooth, and the seats are comfortable, and there's nothing that is, you know, complicated about it. Now, I drove the Impreza not that long ago, and I was not a big fan of the transmission. I don't mind if a car has a CVT if it feels and drives pretty nice. This one's not my favorite, but we'll talk about that, and I think most of you won't even really notice it or pay attention to it. However, ride comfort is supposed to be improved this year. I can't compared to the last year's model, but I got to agree, this last little stretch has been kind of bumpy, and this has been a comfortable driving car. I've been driving it for about a week, no complaints with the ride comfort, and that's not always the case in this size of a vehicle. So Subaru did a nice job with that. Subaru also supposedly made this a little bit quieter, particularly with the way that the powertrain sounds. Now we're just in our normal drive mode. I'll put it in the S mode in a second, but let's get pedal down. Okay, now that gets us up to speed. Like I said, these aren't, you know, it's not real powerful numbers, but it's respectable for the size and price that it is. I can't comment on the smaller engine, but obviously it's not going to be nearly as peppy. It's going to be fairly leisurely from what I've seen with its 0 to 60 numbers. If you got to get on it and merge, you can put it in S mode, so it's going to get the RPMs up. You're going to get more power faster and sooner. A little bit of pedal here, much quicker to respond. And that is one thing about CVTs, is that they do respond very quickly. This, I think, drives nicer than that Impreza as far as its transmission goes. The CVT, you know, most of you that don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, the driving dynamics, won't even notice or care what kind of transmission it has. You just want it to get you from point A to point B, and it does that without disturbing you. Now, there are times when, if I get on it, sometimes the CVT just doesn't let go. Like if I'm got to accelerate or something, it just keeps going. But this, in this little drive right here, it's been pretty smooth. You can always use your paddle shifters if you want to mimic that and downshift or control the RPMs. I've got to say, day-to-day driving, this Subaru is comfortable, and it really answers the call for what buyers are going to be looking for in this class and in this price. And with its all-wheel drive and capability, plus the storage, the ride height, the adventure ability that you get with this at this price point is really hard to turn down. You've got a nice big screen in here, good ergonomics. You've got a wireless charger, a couple cup holders. This screen looks dated, you know, not, you know, you get some all digital displays now, so if that's important, that's going to be a knock. But to me, I don't really care. You still got your speed on there. You can see your driver assist features on there as well. And your steering wheel controls are easy to operate. This is not super loud as far as road noise goes. I don't have decibel ratings for this car, but not a whole lot to complain about with this Subaru Crosstrek. So to wrap things up on this 2024 Crosstrek, obviously you get all-wheel drive standard. You've got some nice features inside, some good additions for this 2024 model with its refresh. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. But if you're looking for an all-wheel drive, spacious, comfortable, decent features, and great safety, this might be exactly what you're looking for in this price range. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Crosstrek review. Leave your comments down below and have a great day.